All right, hello boys and girls. I need to do this quick tutorial on importing Dreamland models. I did this one on the Dreamland model before, and somebody was trying to follow it with, yeah, but how do I do the other blocks? And I didn't explain all of it. So let me explain the full, and now I feel bad about not doing this, but here's the problem. A lot of stuff that you bring in um, is not necessarily written for DAS. It's not a DUF file. So, for example, if you come here to an environment and you go to architectural, let's see, we'll find something like this office maybe somewhere in here. Actually, I just want to, not doing this right here. All right, bus station. So we go here to the bus station or something. So here's a bus station where you can load in this architecture. I'm still not trying to find the right one I want to find here. Here we go. Scenes. There we go. Finally. Okay. Excuse me. So if I load in this scene here, this and drag this over and open this up, this is a DUF file. So so you can see, whoop, there's the path. If you see the file name, it ends up in DUF. So this is actually designed especially for, or at least converted for, the DAS Studio. The Dreamland models aren't. And unfortunately, the example I used before, I used the OBJ, and you can do that. You can import into here OBJs, but in general, when you have a larger model, you don't necessarily want to use the OBJs. What you want to use is the poser files, and poser files are PP2 files. So in this particular case, the Dreamland models are stored in this DAS content, runtime, libraries, props, and then you see Dreamland models, and then here's block 10. So that's where that is. So if you take this PP2 file and we drag it in here, oh, that's right, I got dual monitors, so I drag this file in here. Once you've already loaded it in properly, then so it loads in. So that's the whole thing. That's the PP2 for this block. And you might have noticed on there too that there was the outer streets. You can load that in at the same time. I generally, when they have on these blocks, I like to load in the outer streets separately because I might not need the outer streets, or I might, the size of them may be a problem, and you can always put them in. I'm going to show you both of those things. But anyway, so you load that in, then you go ahead and you do exactly the same part of the tutorial I did before. You export it as OBJ using those parameters. And then what happens is in XChange, you end up bringing that model in, you load it in, and we're going to save it out as when you save it out from DAS. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. I'm sorry. You save it out as DAS as the OBJ, and then you go to Blender. That's right. You load it in Blender as the OBJ. I showed you that before. Then with it selected, then I go to my miscellaneous. These are my import things in Blender. I consolidate the materials, so it reduces the materials down, and I write the iClone folder. Now, from here, I export the FBX file. So I go to export, do that. Okay? And then, finally, in XChange, I load up the FBX file, and then I apply it to iClone. So, and then, again, I'm not trying to duplicate that other tutorial. I just wanted to show the differences with the PP2 file. So, and then in iClone itself, that I go ahead and load in my textures, that I've created. So now we're going to do, I just want to do real quickly the outer streets so that you can see how that loads in. So if I start off with a brand new area, and this shows you how that you can load in the outer streets on these blocks, even once you've already done the rest of it, because they'll just match up properly. So now I've got the outer streets loaded in here. I go ahead here, I go to export, go to the OPJ, and I'll go block 10 outer. Same thing, these are the parameters that you want to use on the screen, so accept that. Go to Blender, do new, brand new file here. Import, OBJ, I'm trying to do this real quick because I don't want this to take too long. Block 10 outer, and it's the OBJ, and you want to make sure that the presets are that you have polygroup selected. I always talk about that. Polygroup selected, key vert order, block outer, OBJ. Okay, import that in real quick. It's there. Then we go to, again, with it selected, press the tab key, and then bring up my tools, consolidate materials. This doesn't really need to be done on the streets because there's not very many materials here. There's only a handful, but whatever. Write the iClone folder. We definitely want to do that. And then we go to File, Export, and we go to FBX. Remember, armatures, take off the leaf bones, exports, and we go to block 10 outer and export that. And we're all set there. And then we come into this and go to File, XChange, block 10 outer FBX. Open that up. This shouldn't take very long because, again, it's very small. And there it is. And then we're just going to apply it to iClone. We've already got, remember in iClone, we already have the block there. So if we zoom back a little bit, we go here, apply to iClone. And so you could have loaded that into DAZ at the same time. I just wanted to show you that, that this is another way of doing this. Get rid of that. And then we go back here. And there, see, we have the streets. So now you have the streets that surround that block 10, like that. And they fit in perfectly because they matched exactly where it was loaded in. So that's no problem. And then you probably want to go into the folder, block 10 outer root, select load up the textures, and there we go. We're all set. So that's how you do it with a poser model, and not necessarily the OBJ. And poser models, like I said, are developed specifically for that, but sold at the DAZ site. And I think all the Dreamland stuff all comes in as poser. So I should have shown that instead of the OBJ, but now you know. So that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll see you on the forums.